Our hair is good. Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand. I always want good hair when I do these. So please, Winston, inform me when I don't have good hair. Okay? Okay, here we go. Welcome, Sabina. No,
Nicole.
Sabina. Nicole. Who's Sabina in this class?
I'm Abina.
Abina. Okay.
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. Welcome to the talk show. Okay. I asked everybody, because this is an incredible university, second most diverse university in the country.
What's number one?
Rutgers. Dynamic place.
We're also the second most depressed.
Oppressed.
Depressed. Stony holds the or it comes in second, 33% clinically depressed, only behind Cornell.
Dude, we're gonna have to change.
The difference is that
Cornell.
couches, whereas we're flat.
Yeah, Cornell's up there with all the hillbillies, though.
Cornell's got that bridge where they had to put. Like,
Yeah, they jump. I heard about that.
Jump off of it.
During finals week, they actually put a psychologist on the bridge, like for emergency counseling when they see someone climbing the fence.
Don't let it happen on my shift. That's it. I want to see the smiles in this class. I want to see the dopamine level go up high. Nicole, let's talk about your... the project I asked from a studio audience, hi Mom, is images. Images of your past. Nowadays we have, in this bag I have like 5 or 6, 8 gigabyte chips. That's outrageous. I mean, I got a camera perpetually in my pocket. This weekend I go through the city. I'm at a couple museums. I'm taking shots of whatever. 8 gigabyte chips. This is like unbelievable. And I asked you guys to go back to your grandparents and get images. Did you get images from your grandparents?
Yes.
You did?
Well, they're deceased now, but my aunt hooked me up with some pictures.
Came back from the dead.
Yep.
No, your aunt did that. So the assignment studio audience is, I've been doing this for 10, 12 years. And it's incredibly interesting. And most of you could do a really cool, award-winning film festival movie out of this anyway. Just the images of your family. Let me see the images of your family in history. We know what roughly is going on with the big sine waves of history. We want to see your family in their own sine wave through that so far. What did you notice right away?
I thought it was really interesting because I grew up in the house that my mom and my aunt who hooked me up with the pictures grew up in. So it was really interesting seeing the house, what it looked like in the 70s.
Are you Irish?
No.
Okay.
Why?
Just checking.
Oh, 'cause
A
that's
lot of my Irish students say, I'm Long Irish and my grandparents grew up in the same house.
Yeah.
What happened? Did anyone happen to you on Long Island? Anything like that? Nope.
Nothing.
That's a thing of the past. That's incredible. You
Yeah.
grew up in the house that your parents grew up in?
Yeah.
Cool. What else you noticed? The big arc. What's your ethnicity?
I'm kind of a mutt. I'm a little bit of everything, German, Russian, English.
Cool.
Here,
All
there.
met here in the cauldron of New York City or the cauldron of Long Island?
Long Island.
Interesting, because they're farmers in the past, right?
In Long Island they were definitely farmers, but my grandpa was, I think he was in the Navy, or the Army, obviously. I think he flew planes, and my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom.
Well, this is cool because by this assignment you're getting this oral history of because didn't World War I was that war to end all wars, right? And raise your hand. Anyone have a relative in the military? Raise your hand. You found that out. Anyone over here? No, none. Yeah. How many people had relatives who were actually refugees from tough troubles? There's the other half of the class. This is incredible. Nicole, they said World War I was the war to end all war, and you said your grandfather flew planes probably in World War II or the Korean War, right?
Yeah, I think so. I
Pilot,
need to do a little
gunner, bomber,
engineer. He worked behind the scenes a little bit.
Oh, so he was ground crew for the planes. Did you ever find? And they had the Grumman factory out here, right?
I'm not sure what that is.
See, it went kaput. It was a famous Grumman aircraft. How many people had family working at Grumman? Oh, there you go. That's interesting. Name.
Yeah.
Quick story to interject with hers about the Grumman.
My dad used to work at Grumman's.
Engineer?
Yeah.
When did it go kaput? Mid-70s, 80s?
I think it was right around then.
They lost some defense contracts, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty much all warplanes. Alex?
My dad actually worked at Northrop Grumman in Connecticut, but he needed to come out here for a conference. It was actually an interesting story. He's an amateur pilot in his spare time, and he got clearance to actually land at the Northrop Grumman factory, so he could fly from Connecticut over here, 20 miles instead of going 100-something miles around. And he said it was interesting. As he was coming in for his approach, the radio control just said, "Oh, you're aware we have arresting cables on the runway?"
Holy smokes.
Because they
That's for aircraft carriers. They have the
landed,
cables.
I think they did. They had Tomcats out here that they were building. And
Isn't it Corsairs too? I don't know. I used to love all that stuff.
But anyway, my dad in his little prop plane Cessna. Like if he'd landed on those, it would just tear the.
You wouldn't have a dad,
right
basically.
off. Yeah, and then he also said it was interesting that they then said, "All right, go park next to the F-14." Yeah, and he said the side that when you look at all the videos and pictures of these warplanes, you don't comprehend their size. That wasn't until he could easily fit his plane under the wing of this craft.
They're big. They have to take off from aircraft carrier. And we saw the picture of even the Wright brothers to understand that aviation went from, in less than 100 years, went from this and Grumman was Long Island had an important part of the history of even aeronautic engineering. I always was amazed at why would they keep an important air factory out here when it's so close to German submarines and all of that stuff. That was interesting. A bit more about how many generations has your family resided here in the country?
Well, I think my grandmother's mother was here also, so that would be like 4.
4 generations. From England, Ireland, Germany?
I think it's like England, Russia. I'm not specifically sure. I know they're from all over the place.
Very
It's
cool.
hard to keep track of each of my grandparents.
What's a secondary arc that you noticed just gathering these photographs?
What I thought was interesting.
Yeah, what struck you? Well, I'm looking for everyone. Looking for the thing that hit your gut. Oh, Grandma's pretty. Why did she kill grandfather? Stuff like that. I just said that because one student had a Grammy who killed the grandfather. I thought it was juicy. I don't know.
I thought it was interesting because I'm an only child, and my grandparents had 100 kids. Not really, but they had
They
6
did back
kids.
then.
The pictures, I don't even recognize half the people. And then there's
I don't even, and I have 7 brothers and sisters. I forgot a couple names. It's
I just thought that was interesting.
Is that callous, Tom? Is that pretty coarse or what? Yeah, I forgot a brother somewhere. I don't know. Just kidding, Mom. Who's an only child in here? Couple. So what do you think that has done to change just the psyche of America?
It's terrible.
It was terrible for you.
Yeah, I hate it.
Wow.
I wish I had 7 brothers.
Yeah, there's upsides and downsides. But what name?
Gary.
Gary. Upside, downside.
All right, upside, you get more of your. I'm not saying you get more of the attention, but everything's focused on you.
That's a negative, too.
By not only mom and dad, but
The
4
entire
other sets
family,
of
Yeah,
grandparents.
my family, my mom has 4 brothers and sisters, so
Same.
all the uncles and all the aunts, everyone focuses on me. While when you have siblings, it's not as much focus. You still have focus, of course. But a downside is I was always a little bit lonely when I was growing up too.
You're lonely. I tell you, Nicole, you guys, when your focus is right here, sharp elbows, man. Sorry, bro. Just kidding. Who else? Only child? Why? How? What was it like? What would you change? Not why. I don't want to know why.
Same thing he said. My whole family, I have an uncle. Well, I grew up with my cousins, so we were almost in age. We're only 9 months apart with my cousins, so I grew up with them. We would always be in the house together, so I wasn't technically an only child.
Of course, what's on your mind, maybe you're not saying this, anyone can jump right in. There's a price tag to kids, right?
Yeah.
What's the current average price tag per kid? Every one of you young adults. What do you think that is? Something like that. 250 by what? Not by the time you're 3.
No way.
Can't be by. I heard it was by the time you're 18, it's $250,000.
I believe that.
Not by 3. And then most of the private schools. How many went to private schools in the area or things like that? What was that like?
Expensive.
Who two? One over here. You went, Lisa and Christine. How much per year?
I think it started off freshman year like 6,000 or so
A semester or a year?
a year, and that's not including like your books and all that.
I heard the average price now. When my brother had 2 kids in Brooklyn, now he went to Texas. He went to Texas because of this. It's $40,000 per kid
That's crazy.
to go to. And the kid, to my niece and nephew were like 3 and 7.
Were they Ivy League high schools?
They were Berkeley Carroll School in Shishi Park Slope.
Does high school honestly matter that much?
No.
No, it doesn't at all.
Okay, so let's get into the next thing. I want to know from all of you is, okay, you said I like this. I like this thrust. Let's just hang with it. Only kids are expensive. I know all of you are running the gears in your head. It's like, when do I want kids, if ever? You know, it's like, yeah, we already heard it right here. Like, it's like, it's going to be $550,000 by the time you guys get around, and you're like, what kind of loan do you have to do to get just do what human beings have been doing for millions of years? Just have progeny, you know? Okay, so human beings are definitely worth it. You're all worth it, but why so leveraged? I mean, for God's sake, it's like human beings have been around for ever. And many people say this is actually a function, including like anti-racism and feminism, actually more of a function of urbanism. The more we put people into cities, the fewer kids they have, the more rights women have, and all of this bill of health. Do you subscribe to that, Winston?
I believe it is also like the way the society is nowadays. Like everybody's trying to do as much as they can within the 24 hours of the day, and they don't have enough time to actually settle down.
But also, you know, how many heard the been there, done that, got the T-shirt, right? It's all like, oh, I'll do that a little bit in my life. What's on your bucket list to do in your life before maybe you even think of having a family or a husband?
I don't pay off my loans, get a cool job,
Pay off
see the world a
loans,
little. I don't know.
take a trip to Venice, climb Mount Everest. So who's got an outlandish? Valentino, what outlandish bucket list? What's on the list? Same thing. Pay off loans, do whatever. Name Tariq.
Blowing money fast.
What?
I don't know. Maybe meet Nas.
Me what?
Meet Nas.
Me Nas.
Travel the country to go to music festivals,
Travel country, do music festival. What kind of music festivals?
like jam bands.
Jam bands, like Who's the Fish is the big one now, right? Who else? That's the Grateful Dead. Oh, let's talk about. Okay, so this is not out of the ordinary. When these big arcs of just like being born, working, marrying, breeding, dying, old school, right? Into something like, oh, I'm into jam bands, so I want to travel the country and do this for a part of my life, or every summer, or a month of every summer of my life, right? Is that so unusual? Carol?
Not for people who are really into it.
But would your grandmother dig this? Would your grandmother know what this is all about?
Probably not. If I have like a stable job and I'm like gonna peace out every summer for a month, like I don't think that's very like orthodox.
Dude, or go to Burning Man. How many have gone to Burning Man?
No.
No one? Yeah, I didn't.
If they're here.
If they're here. So what is this about? Is this the less we have of this arc, and thank God, you know, feminism's taken its chunk out of our traditional patriarchal society. So you ladies say, "Oh God, I gotta get pregnant by 25." No,
No.
you're thinking 45, right?
No.
If at all. You not at all. Ever. Which leads you to a debate with the boys in this class. How do we even think about progeny?
I don't know. I think 45 is like too old. I don't want to be having kids at 45.
You can farm it out in one of these baby farms.
I don't know
you
how
know.
I feel about that though.
At 30?
30
It's the magic
good.
number.
Yeah.
Magic number 30.
But it also puts a lot of pressure on us. I don't know if I'm gonna like get all the stuff I want to get out of the way.
Gentlemen, do you think this only puts pressure on ladies, women?
Yes.
Name.
Not only us.
Name. Is this only put pressure? What if you meet that girl, the one, and then you say, wow, this is the one I want a baby with. And you're 28, Sean, and she's 26. And you give it one day, you come home with a pink slip for her and you say, baby, it's either now or never. We're going to City Hall.
Why is it now or never? I don't get it.
Is that romantic,
That's
huh?
so romantic.
Oh, God.
It's like
I've done that at least 5 times.
I like it.
Hi, Mom. Hi, ex-wives. Sean, give me the scoop, baby. Now it's or never. Ladies, and what would you do to Sean? You say, oh, give it a rest, Sean. I mean, Letterman's on, and let's just watch the rest of the tube.
I just don't get why it's now or never. Why can't he like if I'm 26 and he's 28, we can like maybe work something out. Not now though.
But what if Sean's so in love?
Then he should still be in love with me in 4
He should
years.
respect your career moves. What name? Shayna, what? Give us the DIY future on this.
If he's so in love, you should be able to wait and accommodate too.
Ladies,
But the
is
situation
that
never
the
happens,
credo?
though.
It happens all the time.
Sacrifices for guys and guys should make sacrifices for girls too.
But what if? I always do this scenario. It's very interesting. You know, this has happened. This has happened to my 5 wives and myself.
Wait, seriously?
I'm trying to
Everyone's
live
like,
that
not telling. You, Shayna, have a nice job, $120,000. You're 5 years out of college. Bob is your boyfriend.
Ew.
Whatever. And you've been living together because you said to your parents, oh, it's cheaper for us to get an apartment. Your parents went, okay. Your parents would dig that, right? They go like, all right. And then you say, and Bob goes like, Bob's got a job for $45,000. And he goes like, oh, Shayna, you can't. And you say, Bob, the job's at San Francisco, man. I mean, we'll see what happens. There's always Skype. Would you say that?
What?
Long distance relationships never work.
Well, there you go. How many
How you
think
know?
long-distance relationships never, ever, ever work?
Why would you want to be
There
in
you
a
go.
relationship with someone
Sean-
You
across
guys
the
don't believe in
country?
true love. That's so sad.
Right, I disagree.
And you're the one who doesn't want a family. Long distance doesn't work. Name. Tenzin.
Well, it depends though.
It could.
It truly
The heart is big enough. And love. And then I assign this thing, outgrowth, out of this assignment. Very interesting concept, romantic love. How many had grandparents who were actually chosen to be man and wife by their parents? 1, 2. Mine were. They were carried on over to this little cart. And just kidding. Hi, Mom. Sean, what was that like?
That's Sean.
Oh, wait. Gary.
You got the area right. Though.
Okay.
But,
Gary, why, how, what? Where were they?
India.
They're in India. And their parents said, I got this nice boy for your mom.
It's like it wasn't even like a big deal. Like in their culture, it's normal.
Because you learn to love the other, right?
Yeah. What happens is there's like a statistic saying that people that are chosen to marry one another are more likely to stay together than.
Yeah, because love is a drug, people. Come on. How many of us like openings?
Openings.
The beginning of love.
Oh,
We all
everyone
love
loves
that. Come on. Okay, how many hate breaking up? Everyone does. Okay, so this, I might sound very facile. Name?
Sabrina.
Sabrina, it might sound very facile and joking. I always joke because it's serious. because she gets a job in San Francisco, a lot more money than Bob. She goes like this, and by the way, Bob, long-distance relationships never exist, so here's your pink slip. And Bob cries at the door with his Pabst Blue Ribbon, and Sabrina, what are you going to do? I mean, is love this artificial concept built out of capitalist societies that say love is something to be appropriated by merchandising, by building it up? Gary actually said that. It's like, statistically, if your parents chose, there'd be more incentive to stick to it. But the family has a lot to do with that, right?
What happens is like you grow to learn like to love the person more than you love the person, then you get sick of them once you actually start.
It's a mystery, right?
I don't know about that.
That's
I agree. You
Why
learn
not?
To love someone. You
I-
learn how to
I'm
love.
not against, like, I would never, like, say anything bad about someone else's
like
cultures, you know, like, if that's fine. But I think it's because my parents were divorced. So, like, the person I marry, if I have children with them, like, we're sticking it out.
Yeah,
So-
that's a tendency too. Those kids from a
That's
divorce who
unrealistic.
get
Like,
together
it's
want to.
That's very
where,
unrealistic.
like people marry and then after 72 days they divorce one another.
Yeah.
You know, like
Never happened to me.
there's like that point. Not to you. I mean, you heard like a few.
Yes, it did. Okay, we're wrapping up. Let's give a big hand